All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here drinking my morning coffee, looking sexy as hell as usual. And yeah, make sure that I set this to public. I don't know why it's an issue sometimes, but it is. All right, let's see if we can get a good, lively coffee chat this morning. You never know what we're going to get. Some days these get really, really good views, lots of engagements, lots of people. Other times they're real slow. So I guess we'll see what today brings for the coffee chat. It's going to be a content type of day. I have no plans today that I have to sort outside of just making content at the moment, unless clients need calls. So all I got to do is run and make stuff online today. Clients are all in a good place. So yeah, I do quite a bit of lives here. All right. Oh man, the arguments I'm getting with stuff on Facebook with this whole Tylenol thing. Man, that's its own topic too. It's like I made a status on that, and it shows how crazy people get with their politics. Morning peppermint, you know, shows how crazy people get. Even some people I know who don't like Trump are like they're like screaming that the meta-analysis is wrong and it's poorly done, and it's like Trump didn't do the meta-analysis, guys. Like he has nothing to do with it. I feel like at this point, a lot of problems would go away if the man just got up and issued a public proclamation that drinking bleach was bad and he wanted to outlaw it and that it's horrible and bad. I feel like thousands of problems would go away immediately. That's all it would take. Because let's again look at what happened last month with this. I mean, I don't think people should be taking a bunch of Tylenol at all, anyways. It's liver toxic, it'll kill you. I mean, it's not something you want to take just to take. And the fact that Tylenol issued a statement 8 years ago saying that pregnant women probably shouldn't take their product. They cautioned against it, their own product. But you know, the thing is, this came from a meta-analysis from Harvard. And I'm having people argue. This is how stupid people are. I had someone try to say in my comments already. Are you ready? Well, the meta-analysis said there's no direct link, and then other people liking it and agreeing with him from the other side of that. And it's like that's not what it said. It said they haven't determined causation yet. But the dean of the department from Harvard issued a statement. Okay, and this is why people have to think this stuff through. The dean of the department, I'm going to go out on a limb and say most of the people arguing against this are not scientifically qualified to argue with him. Let's just be honest. They're not qualified to debate him, and that's not an appeal to authority. It's understanding how this sort of research works. It would be different if there was, someone who had true expertise in this specialty. Okay. All right. He issued a statement that he cautioned pregnant women, and it was the position of the university and the department, that they urged caution based upon the data that they had for pregnant women taking Tylenol. Like he urged extreme caution. He said because the correlation is significant enough that even though we don't have causation yet, it's enough of a concern that it should affect what you do. They urged that. All right. This is where the president got this from. Like, do people understand that? Had he not got up and had he made the opposite statement, we would see all the cry from the same people in the other way. Had he got up and said Tylenol is good for pregnant women. They should take it if they have a fever, and there's no link at all to autism with it. Had he got up and issued that statement, the response would be the exact opposite. I'm convinced of that beyond all shadow. Like, I would literally bet my life on it. I would bet my life on the fact that had he simply done that thousands and thousands of these people who are spouting the other opinion would be screaming at him for telling pregnant women to take Tylenol. I'm convinced of this. Like, I am convinced of this beyond all shadow of a doubt. Because their interpretation of science and policy is completely driven by their hatred of the man. So anything that he says, they're going to come out in the opposite. Right? In a way that their interest in is similar to your haters, but on a grander, yeah, it is. But it's the same mindset, isn't it, Peppermint? It's identical mindset. It's just that I obviously am nowhere near as well known. But I agree. So when you look at the way that they respond to logic and reason, it's exactly, my own haters have that exact same strange level of derangement. No, you're right, Peppermint. So I totally get it. Like, because I see this, I realize that the people who really hate this man, they'll go in with any direction with it. But that was kind of the point I made with my Facebook post. It's like, I'll just read the post out so you'll understand what I'm saying. So that we have a context. And then people arguing with me about it, and it's just amazing. I mean, letting your hatred of a political leader affect your interpretation of meta-analysis is insane. Like, a person who does that is probably not mentally fit to make their own decisions, right? They should probably be adjudicated of something. I mean that seriously. That is a sign of extreme mental illness. All right, let me pull up my post. Sorry, I got so many things up there. All right, let me just pull that up. All right. Okay. All right, here's what I put. Imagine hating Trump so much that you reject a 46 study meta-analysis on the health risk associated with a drug done at Harvard because Trump saw it and is using it to influence his policy. And that's exactly the point. Oh, it's morning time. I don't have forearm veins in the morning. I'm still fasted. So my arms look dramatically different once I carved up enough food. But that's my point, is had Trump not issued a statement on this and it affecting his policy, these same people would be screaming against Tylenol. Right? Hey, Lars, but that's a separate topic, right? And you mean RFK. Hey, Lars, but have I not publicly slammed RFK for some of his positions? Have I not personally in live streams expressed disappointment in RFK? Okay. I've given him a hard time. I love what his position is supposed to be about. What his original position was supposed to be about was to improve our food quality, different drug regulations, things like that, to make America healthy again. I'm passionate about that. Hey, I'm on board, but his implementation of it has been moronic. Like, I mean, and I've said that. That is the word that I use. No, Lars is not a But let's go back over. I call it Blaha derangement syndrome. Even guys who are not haters but critics will just disagree because of who the messenger is, right? That is a hater, to be honest. If you're anti-person, you disagree with everything they say, which is fascinating to me because I've gotten up and some of my people I'm pretty much enemies with, I've said, look, they're still right. I'll still give credit where credit is due. I mean, look how hard Lane Norton came after me. Like, he actually affected my life, spending huge amounts of money to do so. Yet, did I still not give credit when he proved me wrong and got up and hit a heavy lift again? And he even said, where's Blaha now? Well, I got up and clapped. A person who I felt had wronged me on a serious level, when he got up and was successful, I clapped for him. Because that's called having integrity. Right? A man who wronged me, and I mean, got up and said on video, and quote unquote, I kept a copy of the video in case I needed it ever for court reasons, that he would pour gas to watch me burn. Those were his exact words. I'm sorry. His words were, I would pour gas to watch that son of a bitch burn, were his exact words. Okay. After he spent hundreds of thousands of dollars coming after me. All right. Yet when he did good, I got on camera and applauded it and literally clapped for him. So if someone still wants to hate on me, I mean, all right. So, all right. I brought up Maha several times. Usually coaches could have, and I am, and I'm disappointed in RFK with that. It's not just critical. How you doing, Jana? Over here in my live. I'm not just critical of RFK. I'm disappointed because of what he was spending when he first was being appointed to all this. I was on board with, and he has not done what I expected, and he's wasted a lot of time and a lot of money on stupid things instead of doing what he said he was going to do. You know, why haven't we banned all the refined sugars in schools? You know, why hasn't this happened? Like, that was something I was expecting immediately. You know, that's what I was expecting immediately. All right. That any school that wanted government funding, they had to get rid of all the refined sugar. That would have been a real policy RFK could have implemented. Cut funding to any school that doesn't remove all the refined sugar. Well, that would happen real fast, wouldn't it? It'd be overnight. What would that do for our public health? You know, because that's where our diet problems start. They're now intergenerational, because your grandparents gave your parents horrible food and gave them horrible eating habits. It's now multi-generational. Wouldn't be that. You're telling me to remove refined sugars from schools wouldn't be easy? I think it would. They just buy different food, take them out of the vending machine, so on. This is doable. Straight edge, we must promote where people are. I don't always fully know what the straight edge fully means, but you know, if we're against drugs and alcohol and junk food, then hey, I'm for it. I mean, I think sobriety itself, but we have to make it cool, and that's the thing. But I think that was the whole point of that movement, right? Was to create a bit of a counterculture to where being sober is cool, and that's what you have to have. I mean, realistically, that's what you have to have. the $1 billion food industry won't allow for RFK to make real changes. But that's what part of what they were all elected for and appointed for. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it means keeping away from drugs, drinking, cigarettes. Yeah, see, and it attempted to do so in a way that makes it cool. And that's the important thing. All right. Hey, Rodney, you know what? Here's the thing. Robert and I have some respect. I think maybe, as someone suggested before, would I get up and do a friendly debate with Robert on it in a roundtable? I know I would never climb Mount Everest. This guy's mad. Rodney's upset because Robert Frank jumped into my Facebook stream yesterday and dropped some compliments that he's a fan. He's watched my stuff for many, many years. And I wrote back and he liked it too. So while I was streaming yesterday, because I stream on Facebook and the tubes both concurrently. All right. Hey, what's up, Mustafa? I was asking about myostatin level increasing, limiting muscle drugs. Oh. I was asking about myo. Right. So, but Mustafa, I didn't understand. I thought the only practical application of that knowledge would be drugs, meaning you're asking about myostatin inhibition, but generally lifters and bodybuilders only ask about this topic when they're looking for a drug to change it. Does that make sense? So in a fitness context, if you're asking this as a student, like you're taking a class with a test for your biology degree, it's a different topic. But you didn't tell me in any way that you're taking biology or working on a biology degree. So therefore, I assume you're asking me as a lifter. And the only practical application of that knowledge is to seek out drugs that inhibit it. Does that make sense? No, you shouldn't care about it at all. I mean, no, you should care. You might be pursuing a biology degree or a medical degree. Oh, then yeah, there's no reason for you to think about it. Like if you're not pursuing a biology related degree, then there's no reason for you to know what the word myostatin inhibition means. Like there's no practical application for it outside of taking your test or getting your degree, or maybe writing a book on it. So that's the point. Man, my stream is acting a little wonky here. I don't know why it's doing that. Because some of you guys type something, see if it'll fix my stream on the tubes. Like it's the messages are partially, I don't know what it's doing. Let me see if I can make it bump. There it goes. All right, that bumped it up. I had to have someone. Oh my God, like 10 messages appeared when someone finally typed one. Okay, thank you. This new generation of drinking less, I think Gen X is possibly the highest drinking generation ever heard from that. Like, yeah, I'm Gen X. Like Gen X drink a lot. But yeah, they're saying that drinking is reducing. I mean, this is a good thing, right? I don't think climbing Mount Everest would be good. No, it wouldn't be. I didn't know what stream was it. Oh, the one yesterday. So Tyrone, all of these streams are done on all platforms. So you're thinking I'm streaming on the tubes, right? I'm streaming on Facebook at the same time through the same camera on the same browser, right? I have concurrent monetized streams going. So Robert Frank dropped into the one last night, the afternoon chat, and just said hello. Said that he'd been watching my videos for many years. So, yeah. And it was a real thing. It was his 1.6 million follower blue check mark. That was just cool. Yeah, it was a real Robert Frank. I drink an entire pot of coffee in the morning. I don't know how many coffees that is. How much is in a whole coffee pot? I got a Mr. Coffee. I fill it up. We fill it up to the top. So you're on there. How do they offset? So again, Mustafa, understanding how myostatin interacts with that, you're at a master's degree level conversation or PhD level discussion. So I'm not qualified to answer that question because I do not have a PhD in the field. You're not going qualified to understand it because you're not doing graduate work in the field. So even if I did have the requisite knowledge to answer it, you wouldn't comprehend the answer. Because you're asking about deep mechanistic biology. You know, so like for the topic you're asking me, I'd be like, well, how good is your knowledge of molecular biology? Like how many hours of it have you had? So if you come back and say you've only taken one class in it, you're probably not going to understand the answer a PhD would give you to that question. You're not going to have the requisite knowledge to understand the answer. All right. How much caffeine is that? I have no idea. I don't know. Hey, Rodney, if people who track caffeine will be the ones who have to tell you, because I don't know. All right. It's cool. I said that I must have missed that stream in the afternoon. Yeah, it was the afternoon. A full pot of coffee. No, like it's about 3.5 of this thing. This enormous mug. Because a mug is not a measurement. Is caffeine considered a drug? Is it still straight edge? I don't understand. But I don't know, man. We got the straight edge dude. I'll have to tell you. Peppermint. Okay, peppermint. All right. So we stop with peppermint's in here. He works in a biology related field. That's what his degree is in. His reply, yes, that is an advanced question of mechanistic pathways. Yes, coach is speaking facts. So essentially, yeah. Essentially, you asked a question that would require you to have an advanced knowledge of biology to actually understand the answer if someone gave it to you. Minimum undergrad, probably a master's. So they use progressively increase the doses. They'll stay high amount of drugs all the time. But we already know that, right? You're talking pro bodybuilders, right? That's understood. But they don't have to all the time. They'll have muscle memory from the previous blasts. So when they go back on the large amounts, they're good. I mean, keeping in mind, you have to understand how many drugs pro bodybuilders are using. And keep in mind how much bigger they are today. Like you're familiar with Dorian Yates' stack, right? His admitted stack, let's assume he didn't downplay it like bodybuilders do. What did Dorian Yates use going into Olympias, his early Olympias runs? If he was being honest. His off season was usually 2.5 total grams of test deca and anabar, along with 8 units of growth hormone every day. And then the insulin thrown in. He denied that he used insulin early. Everyone knows that he did. Like he didn't even discuss that in any of those earlier interviews. But in actual interviews, his off season for growing was 2.5 grams. Keep in mind, he is a genetic freak, whether he admits it or not. And the guys today are way bigger. So there's your context. Keep in mind that 8 units of growth is no minor factor in there. And there's now guys today with 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds more muscle than Dorian had. And his contest stack involved bunches of tren, minstrel, and other stuff thrown in too. I walked the plains. Hey, Jason, what's up? Doing some really early morning behind the neck with 5x5 for a 5x10. My neighbor has an old school glute hammer. He's going to use it next session for sure. 3x10 for GHR. Yeah, that could be workable. I'm going to caution you though. You said the neighbor has one. You're going to try. Have you used a glute ham raise before? Just keep in mind if it's not an adjustable one, to where you can take it to an easy point on a harder position. A lot of 500-pound deadlifters can't do a single rep with their body weight. They have to have assistance. Do you think Dorian's form was good? I mean, he did a lot of machine stuff. I don't know. Scott, I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at a lot of it, to be fair. Dorian had a lot of overuse issues, though. And I honestly believe it was the extended sets that were the biggest factors in him getting hurt. You know, forced reps, forced negatives. Good way to get hurt. Yeah, I'll test the waters. Any who're going to get this workout done. Got to get to the bus station in 3 hours. Love you guys. All right, take care, man. Yeah. That's failure and wraps around his elbows, right? You know. Well, and I think that's the point Mustafa's over talking about the doses. They're not same doses. And this is why, I tell people, be careful with the goals you set. Because I think people would be surprised. They'll see a smaller, really, really ripped, dense guy who's not even that big, and they may not realize how much drugs they use. I think people would be really shocked when you really sit down and talk to guys about their stacks. How do I put it? I have met NPC guys or even lesser known IFBB guys who compete in stuff like men's physique, right? We're talking guys who are 170 pounds at contest time, and they're using over a gram going into shows. And it's not really considered a big deal. It's just like this is what everybody does. Right? Like I've talked to some of those guys, and they're literally doing stuff like 50 tren every day, 100 masteron every day, right? 500-600 primo going into those shows, plus other stuff. That's just the anabolics, and then a little test in there. And you start doing the math on that, and you realize, like, dude, you're like something like 1.8 grams of just anabolics at 170 pounds. Do you think there are fitness activities or tools like reverse hybrids to increase height through spinal traction? No. Why do Widowmaker squats say to use a weight that is your 10 to 12 rep max? If someone does their 12 rep max, how can they do more reps? Because it can take you a while to get them done. It's rest pause. So the idea, straight edge, with the Widowmaker squat, there's also an enormous conditioning component to that. And there's a mental side to it. So with the Widowmaker, you're not re-racking the weight. It's considered one set because the bar stays on your back. It might take 3 minutes to do the whole set. So you might be there with your 12 rep max sitting on your back for 3 minutes. So the idea, like they take that, they do 10 reps, rest a few seconds, take some deep breaths, do another rep or two if they can. Rest 3, 4, 5 seconds, do another rep. Rest 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, do another rep. And the goal is to try to build up to where you can do 20. And we would count that as one set, but realistically, if it takes you 3 minutes to complete the entire set, do you see where we're going? You've already had a 2 minute, you're still doing reps 2 minutes after what would have been the failure coming back in. There may be a point in there to where you're getting back to the upper threshold muscle fibers again, because they've had enough time to rest. You might be actually be reactivating them after that 2 minute mark. But it's, you do the one set and then they're done. So a lot of those programs, were stuff like, so the perfect example of one of the Widowmaker super squat programs, right? And then you do a set of pullovers to failure afterwards while you're still out of breath. And then it would be, so that was a standard approach. And then afterwards, the workout would be something like 3 sets of chin-ups and dips. And then you go home, full body workout. All right. Michael says, going back over a decade, Elliot Holsover at strength camp suggested squatting weight. You can do 10 reps and stay on there until you can reach out 20. Yeah, that's called a Widowmaker, Michael. That was the Texas high school bulking method back in the day, right? So the Widowmaker squats like that all through like the 80s and the 90s, and so on. Here in Texas, that's what all the high school football players are doing. Right? That is like straight up American football size building. What is your current drug stack? A replacement dose of test set? So that's my whole stack. There's no stack. It's one thing. Coach, have you ever had a client with a sports hernia? No. I feel high rep squats on my core and my lower back gives it, all right? That makes sense now. Could somebody do that on a belt squat? Why would you? So think about what you were doing with this in terms of the conditioning side and the impact on the whole body. And then ask yourself, why would you bother with a belt squat? Are you going to get the same conditioning benefits? So it would just be silly. All right. And we're back over to people seeing something that they know is a very difficult training approach used to build athletes and saying, can I find a way to pussify it? Incorporating wide stance squats was the best decision for improving standard squats. Yeah, it's true for a lot of people. I can see that. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I do enjoy high rep belt squats. I feel that one squat you can sustain high reps on. Yeah. So your context, and people love to take these really old school, serious, effective training methods and try to bring them down. And it's like, why? Why don't you just do normal training then in that case? You know, got a sprained chest for some reason, struggling to do glute bridges for a part of my accessory, work for legs, doing sets of 10 with 65% on one rep max. Well, 10 reps at 65% shouldn't even be difficult. That sounds like a warm up. How did you sprain your chest? That's a form issue. Like for coach, tell him peppermint. So that sounds like a form issue, and it. uh, 10 reps at 65%. I think you should have put another plate on there on each side for the tens. Yeah, I mean, if you're pulling your chest on a glute bridge, it's time to get coaching. From BJJ, start with 3 sets of 3+ reps to failure for squats, then 3 sets of 10 for the squat straight after. Can the Widowmaker be applied to other muscles? It doesn't translate well because I only. Well, think about why they do it on the squat, Michael. Right? Think about why it would be done on the squat, of why it would be done. And that will give you the answer you're looking for. Okay. Keep in mind, it's a full body set. How do you fix wrist pain doing low bar squats? Learn how to grip it correctly. Change your grip width. Learn to get it into the webbing of your hand. So if you're having wrist pain, you need to switch over to one to where you put your full grip over the bar, if that's the position you're in. And you're definitely probably gripping it too narrow for your shoulders, because you shouldn't be having wrist pain. That's going to lead to elbow pain next because you're pushing up on the bar. You're supposed to pull down on the bar when you squat, right? You should be doing a lat pull down. If doing full body, does it matter which exercise body part you do first? I think that it does, yeah. Okay. On the belt squat, the 10 reps set takes me a couple of minutes to get through. Am I going too heavy? Yeah. Way to do them on the old school way. Spridge, I don't know. You're asking me deep programming questions outside of a one-on-one, looking at your whole program, your results. We're at consultation or coaching level question. Like, I can't assess that in a live stream, but it sounds like it's not a true 10 rep set. That's not a 10 rep set. That's an extended set. That's called rest pause. You're doing a rest pause set. So which body part? I mean, generally you want to start with a lower body movement on a full body Benjamin, like a squat or a deadlift. Do you eat much white rice? Depends on what I'm doing. This week, no. I've been doing brown rice. Let me see. Let me check Facebook here. A bunch of stuff from Mustafa. I've seen complaints. Why does gear cause a puffy face? Due to aldosterone usually. Right? Shifts in aldosterone, which affects sodium retention. Hey, Benjamin. I mean, you're asking you starting with chest, okay. So why are you scared to train your legs? Less active equals brown rice. No, Desmond. I mean, as far as brown versus white rice is an extremely nuanced. I would need a whole live stream just to discuss white versus brown rice or why someone might do one versus the other. I feel like you're asking me to write a book. It's like a 3-hour conversation. Like we could sit down one-on-one. Like hire me for a 1-hour consultation and I'll chat with you about brown versus white rice for an hour straight. As far as why I might personally eat one versus the other. A lot of it would have to do with what we're looking for in terms of gut health, gastric emptying, certain fullness, maybe extra calorie loss through fecal excrement. When you want a calmer GI tract and you don't care about the extra antioxidant status, the extra gut flora benefits, you might go for white rice. If your lifestyle dictates that you can't stop and take a crap 3 times a day at work, you might not want to go for the brown rice. I mean, there's a lot of practical things. Because I work from home and I can go to the bathroom anytime I want, that's a big factor in just doing brown rice. So there's a lot of things to consider. That's why I tell people you're not going to get fat on brown rice. I always laugh. I bring that up, right? I've made those posts and people will argue calories and calories. And I'm like, you can't get fat on chicken breast, broccoli, and brown rice. No one's done it. And then people will argue. I'm like, no, you have to add a fat source. And especially if you're active. And then I'm like, I almost want to challenge the people who argue with me to actually go do it. Okay, go do it for 2 weeks. Do a DEXA scan. Try to overfeed brown rice. Check your weight for 2 weeks and then go get a DEXA scan at the end and show me how much fat you gained. And it would be a joke played on them. It would be hilarious. It would be like I'd be laughing my ass off the whole time if I could really get someone who argues with me on this to actually do it. Okay. Any of you ever tried to eat 4,000 calories of brown rice in a day? Like actually tried it. It's going to be like taking a handful of laxatives. You're going to be shitting your brains out. Like you're just going to be shitting out undigested rice. Like there's going to be brown rice in your toilet that you can tell is brown rice. It's going to clear you out. And I do mean that. You're going to go poop 5 times a day and the toilet is going to have visible brown rice. It's just going to look like a pile of brown rice with some maple poured in it in your toilet. Yeah, most guys couldn't do it. They're going to, yeah. That's what would happen. So anyone who's ever tried to use it to bulk on a really clean diet is laughing. They're like, yeah, you can't do it. You can't do it. Yeah, they won't. They're not going to do 4,000, right? I mean, I routinely do 2,000 plus of brown rice sometimes, but I mean, you're pooping out brown rice at that point. Like that's what your toilet looks like. If you can see it's brown rice in there at that point. Good morning. What's up, Ryan? Do people get that on TRT? Fat people do sometimes, Mustafa. But I mean, appreciate the comment, Vino. So Mustafa, not necessarily, they shouldn't. No, not on correctly done TRT. They shouldn't be getting puffy face. That's usually a really fat person who's not managing their E2. A lean person should not get any face booth at all. Would the same happen with white rice? No, not at all. Nope, nothing alike. Hence the point. A lot of athletes prefer white rice because it's so calm on the GI tract. It's the bran and the bran fiber specifically in the brown rice. Like, again, it's pretty much a colon cleanse. It's just most people don't eat enough of it to really notice it. But if they really were, you push the brown rice hard, anyone who's ever eaten brown rice as a major staple calorie knows exactly what I'm talking about. They're all going to say, yeah, he's 100% right. No, we didn't run yet. It is still dark. Look outside, man. It's the sun's not even up. So if I go run at this time, you can't see me on the camera. You know, so there's a lot of nuance between why you pick white versus brown. But keep in mind, brown rice has antioxidants and stuff in it. You know, and I think another point people miss, if we're going to be nuanced with nutrition, okay, you guys ready? People love to bring up two problems that they don't like with brown rice: the arsenic content and the anti-nutrients. Keeping in mind, a lot of anti-nutrients have health benefits, by the way. They forget that part. There are literally health benefits to a lot of things that are classified as anti-nutrients. All right. Yes, brown rice has more arsenic than white rice. Anybody know how much more? No, it's significant, but it's not like double or triple. It's in the range of like 50 to 70, 50 to 80% more, depending upon where you get each individual rice, right? How much of it is blocked from absorption due to that fiber? No, there's no documented cases of anyone getting arsenic poisoning from brown rice. There's no case studies of that. It's just given as precautionary info for pregnant women. But I guarantee you, since Trump's announcement, those same people who are worried about the arsenic in brown rice are telling pregnant women it's fine to take Tylenol. They only found a correlation in that meta-analysis from Harvard. It's fine. Go ahead. You know, but no, I mean, the levels are higher and there's warnings in Europe on it. But there's no documented cases. And I think people forget that when they say, yeah, but arsenic is poison. I'm like, everything you eat has arsenic in it, though. Like, you do realize it's impossible to eat an arsenic and lead-free diet. You can't do it. I mean, it is literally impossible to eat a diet free of lead and arsenic. It is biologically and physically impossible. Even before modern pollution, your Paleolithic ancestors ate lead and arsenic every single day. So again, context. Straight edge said, it's just insane. People from the Western world will claim the white rice is terrible and bad for you, but it's fine when eating fast food and cans of Coke are just not right. Coach, is MSG not good to eat? I don't know. All right. Desmond says, Coach, in 10 years' time, will you expect to be close to the same strength levels? Like MSG is just not a part of my life. So I would actually need to go do significant research to give you an answer. I would need to dedicate like several days to answering that question. Like something like a 40-hour work week would have to be dedicated, spaced out over time for me to give you a yes or no on that one. So I'm sorry, I don't have the answer. Do you consider me lean or genetic? Mustafa, you're a lean dude. I don't know, man. You're not uploading stuff online regularly for us to compare. Coach, in 10 years' time, do you expect to be close to the same strength levels? I mean, I could hope. How's the jogging? It's going okay. I mean, I vlog it. Doesn't. I mean, I do streams and then it goes on the app. I have a bunch of followers who follow my running data and give me little kudos and the thumbs up on it. But I mean, I stream it. So I'll be out there later this morning with the phone running. Okay. Yeah, Ryan says I eat 1,800 calories plus of white rice, no problems here, right? Every day. Ryan, how much, by the way, qualify that and say how much weight you've lost so that they have a context. Are we at 90 pounds lost so far? Around right at 90 at this point? Brian's a client, by the way. Ryan be benching 300, pulling in the mid 400s while down 90 pounds and dropping still. Are there powerlifting competitions for seniors in their 70s and 80s? No, they don't get their own competitions. They have their own age classes. They go to the same competitions everyone else does, right? Now, some federations do hold like a Masters Cup for people over 40 only. So only the Masters age classes go to those specific meets that are championships. But those senior classes would also qualify for like a Masters Cup also, since they're over the age of 40. 70 is higher than 40. So that aside, no, it's just age class. So all your rankings, your records, your medals are based upon your age class. That's why I point out to people when they'll hate on me, they're like, but I have an elite total. Like, but you're I'm like, my last meet was an elite total for the 45 to 49 age class. The USPA has me listed as having an elite total. Like that is my classification. So you start getting different calculations from age 40 and on. Just like if you're under 23, you get a different set of calculations. Right? Chicken or salmon for best post-workout meal? I don't know. Depends on are you trying to get the omega-3 fats or trying to stay with lower fat intake? So it's not the question of the post-workout. It has to do with what you're trying to do with your fat intake. Do squats work the abductors much? Yes. Big time. Confirmed with hypertrophy studies. Imagine trying to eat 4,000 calories worth of potatoes. I think it would be tougher than brown rice. From a satiety, yes, but it won't clear you out, right? It's not going to have the same gut clearing. But in terms of difficulty, satiety, objectively, yes, it would be more difficult to achieve physically to get it, to actually eat it. Like you could get the 4,000 calories of rice down, possibly. It's just that what's going to happen on the back end of it. 4,000 calories of white potatoes in a day may be physically impossible for most people. You know. 90 pounds total, holding steady at 229, 230. List going up, belt fitting looser. There we go, Ryan, making progress. So Ryan is down to 229 from 320, and he's getting stronger. Right? I think we pulled, 460 this last week on the deadlift. We're benching in the low 300s now. So our goal for this year is to get down to 220 with a 315 bench at 220 and to keep losing from there. All right. Allied Pearson, is there a reason besides religion why lean pork is so demonized, low cost, incredible? And not just religion, if you just think of a pig's a nasty animal. Plus, it doesn't taste that good. You know. A lot of religions noted health risk and just the nastiness of the animal. But a pig is a nasty animal, dude. To be fair, I don't really eat pork, to be honest. Sorry, man. I've hunted feral hogs, and then my family used to raise pigs, and we did sausage. A pig is just a nasty animal. I've made sausage from a live pig. It used to be a family thing where we would do that. We would take like eight live pigs, and 12, 15, 20 of us would all get together at a big family get together, and we would turn all 8 pigs into smoked sausage in the smokehouse. A lot of religions based on dietary restrictions on what the animals eat, such as ruminant they absolutely did. But if you also look at that, it's based upon pig will eat anything. But think in terms of toxins too. The higher an animal is up the food chain, the more toxins you do get, the more potentially certain problems with heavy metals. They just taste worse. And I know someone who's eaten, I have a friend who he's eaten pretty much every animal around the world. And he says that, he goes, you can tell, he goes, an animal that's further up the food chain doesn't taste good. He's like, because he's eaten bear and stuff. He's eaten both brown and black bear. And he's just like, you can tell it just doesn't taste nearly as good. But he's willing to try all these things. Like he's very adventurous with it. And he actually follows my stuff and posts on my comments. Yeah. All right. That's also a consideration. The same applies to fish. The larger the fish, which is why tuna is so high in mercury, because it's a massive fish. It's way up the food chain. And that's why it's cheap, because the tuna is a massive fish, so they get ridiculous amounts of meat from one fish. So it makes it fairly inexpensive, but it's full of heavy metals. But yeah, no, pigs are nasty. So the people, let's get a little history lesson there. All right, let's get a history lesson there. During those biblical times, think about what pigs were used for inside those cities when those prohibitions were written. What was a common use in those regions for pigs? They didn't have plumbing. So they used to have pigs were used to go along and clean up the feces, the waste, because they would eat the poop, and they use them to clean the areas in the streets out. As a disposal was a really common thing. So the pigs would clean up that. So because that was actually a very common traditional use of pigs in those regions, therefore that absolutely affected absolutely affected it. Plus, I mean, the parasite in anyone who shot and killed wild hogs, we've all cut some open and found the worms, right? So you get rid of enough of them, you're going to find some parasites. You open them up. Very common. Great to see you incorporate box squats again, Coach. Yep, it's in there. Straight as you got. That's it. So there you go, straight edge. So in that historical context, do you see why religions from those parts of the world decided a pig was a revolting animal that you didn't want to eat? And even today, I mean, a pig will eat anything, and they do eat their own poop, and they eat the poop of the other pigs, and they're, it's pretty normal. They'll eat people, they'll eat rotten stuff. Doesn't matter. They're like a garbage disposal, really. Still, Coach, I get 6 eggs a day, and I feel great. So Tyrone, I guess, what does your LDL look like? If your LDL is okay, I would say no problem. If your LDL is out of range, then I'd be concerned. That would be the only concern. Outside of the potential lipid impact, eggs are great. So it's going to depend on your blood work. Religion also forbidden parts of the world to eat a delicious cow. Yeah, but that's different. That's what I'm going to call it. I'll be nice. I'm not going to sell people's religions. I don't want anything to do with that. We're eating the cow. Cow is sacred, deliciously sacred. Right? It's a gift from God right there. Nice cut of steak. All right. I wonder if even further back they were used in excarnation rites. I don't know. So, but yeah, Mustafa, as far as your thing, I guess that's why they have the ability. When you get sub 10%, your hunger skyrockets. Well, you're not using any drugs to suppress appetite. Like, okay, Mustafa, you want to be a fitness influencer who's lean, you're going to have to learn to take appetite suppressing drugs like all the other guys do. They all talk about it. They use drugs to suppress appetite to stay under 10%. This is common practice in the industry. What about pigs fed on non-filthy stuff? They're still going to eat the poop. Like Marcinio, how are you going to stop them from eating the poop? Are you going to put a diaper on them? But I do see your point. Yeah. Then again, chickens are little raptors. They'll eat anything. We used to have chickens. I've had chickens at 2 different points in my life. So, but you know how much work that would be? Like, do you understand the amount of expense and money and labor and it would be involved with stopping pigs from eating poop? Right. That sounds like a lot of work. Man, that's going to be some expensive pork. That's going to be that $50 a pound stuff. All right. But so had chickens. Chickens eat everything, man. I've seen chickens get a hold of a mouse. It is literally like a pack of raptors. They'll fight over it. right? Beef is a right. Yep. Iberian pork is like the Wagyu beef. All right. Fair. Chickens eat their poop too. They're not very, yeah, they will sometimes if it's in their feed. They won't go actively seek it out, but they're going to, if it's in the feed, they'll eat it, and they sometimes end up pooping in it. They don't care. Yeah, they eat everything. They're little carnivores though, right? Once I ate pig meat, they've been out for 12 hours and you say my stomach went insane. Yeah. Yep. And we're going to have all these topics of animals. This is why, you got to laugh at the whole vegans talking about any of this. And it's like, dude, chickens would eat you if they could. They again, that's why their viewpoints are so delusional. They've watched too many Disney films as a kid. They act like these animals are not carnivorous and wouldn't eat anything. I've seen cows eat small animals, right? Cows will eat birds. Cows will eat your baby chickens given a chance. They eat snakes. I've seen them eat birds though. Yeah, same. I don't ever buy pork straight edge. Oh, it's just like cheat day pepperoni pizza or something, but that's about it. I had to break off a friendship because they turned vegan and they wanted me to eat out. And they're not going to stay vegan. Hey, Tyrone, they'll come around. 90% of vegans can't sustain it and they quit and they go back to eating meat eventually. And then the vegans all argue that they weren't true vegans because they would have sustained it no matter what. It's like they're so called crazy, insane. They really say that. They weren't true vegans. They didn't truly believe it enough. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, listen to yourself. All these fad diets. And it really is. It's a cult and it's a fad diet. And they get mad when you call it that. It's a way of life. I got in arguments with some people in some nutrition groups in the past on that, some coaching groups, all these trainers. They were all flexible dieters, right? And they're like, you can't place, you ready? You can't place moral value on foods. It will create eating disorders. You can't do that. There's no morality involved with your food. But then they would write meal plans for vegans, and I would say, well, why are you over here endorsing vegans when you're making this other statement? And I'm like, you're the same ones who've written all this stuff. Some of them are on my friends list, so some of those trainers and coaches, right? You wrote all this stuff about how people have to flexible diet because you can't place moral value on foods. Like there's no morality with your food. It's not a moral choice, right? I'm like, but why are you used to the vegans? Well, because it's their moral position. But you just said you wrote all this stuff and still do about there's no morality involved with your food unless it's a vegan. Why do they get a special rule? Like, why do they get an exception? Why can't you just call it an eating disorder? Why can't you just call it a mental illness? Ryan says, I've been meal prepping my chicken breasts on the grill every Sunday. It's a great call. I did a bunch of chicken this weekend. Yeah, I do at least 6 pounds. I try to do like 6 pounds at a time, but I might need to do more because I've been bumping my protein up more and more. Trying to eat more. My flexible diet will be 270 plus. I'm the same way, Ryan. And most people are like that. We've both been 300 plus pounds. We can't do that stuff. We can't. And they don't understand that. All right. Man. So, yeah. Somebody's messaging me there. Better be someone inquiring about coaching. If it's another stupid ass SEO expert, like, dude, you guys have no clue how many messages. Oh no, it's just a positive one. Okay, just appreciating my work. All right. The number of messages I get through Instagram or Facebook of SEO experts who see my YouTube. I'm a big fan of your channel. And I've made these adjustments, and it's like they want me to hire them. And they only come from 2 countries in the entire world. Or it'll be undefined Middle Eastern country. And so it's always India or Pakistan. 50% of SEO experts who message me, their first name is Muhammad. Literally 50 to 60%. And they draw me these big demographics, and I block them, right? So my strategy is I block them if it allows me the option to where they can still post on my wall, if it gives me the option that they can't message me directly anymore. And that way they're forced to give me money by engaging my content, commenting afterwards if they want to keep trying to throw their pitch to me. Because I get paid for my comments, by the way. People are unaware of that. But hey, everyone go to my Facebook and comment, man. What's up with that? Why y'all not doing that for coach? Here. I'll tell you guys in the stream. Go to my Facebook, man. Why are you guys not engaging? All right. What do they take to suppress appetite? Cleanse, stimulants, any sort of stims. Nicotine gum is a really big one these days. Any sort of stimulant, though, or amphetamine will suppress appetite. I know bodybuilders and fitness models who use Adderall to keep their appetite under control. So if you're serious about trying to be ripped year-round, you're going to have to use drugs like everyone else does. Sorry, dude. That's just the reality. That's how they do it. So if you want to know how your fitness influencers who stay sub 10% year-round do it, they use drugs to suppress their appetite so they can sustain those body fats. It's the industry norm, right? But you can't control your appetite when you get too ripped and you try to stay there. So nicotine gums, Adderalls, any form of stimulant, so on and so forth. It's pretty normal. Like, it's the industry standard. This is why I tell people they're selling you illusion. And you just got to be realistic about that. Why do we not have more likes on the YouTube there? Don't you know, like in there, you know? And that's also how a lot of them flexible diet. Like the same guys who are like, I work in this protein shake, I work in a Snicker bar, I eat all these Quest bars. Like they show you all this stuff, right? And then you talk to them and they're like, well, I also take Adderall to suppress my appetite. And then they perfectly track their macros while still eating junk. Well, yeah, you're getting away with it because you're on Adderall and you chew nicotine gum. It's really funny. It would be funny if it wasn't tragic. Straight edge says, what's the lowest body fat a natural should never go below if they aren't competing in body? About 10%. 8% is, man, you better have genetics to be lean for that. I think the average guy is going to struggle with that, to be fair, straight edge. I think most dudes are going to struggle. Maybe 10% is probably your minimum, but I don't think people understand 10% is pretty dang lean. Like 10% is full six pack. Like at 10%, you can see all 6 of your abs from 30 yards away with your shirt off. Right? You take your shirt off, people 30 yards away are going to see your full six pack out in the sun without great lighting. What's a good bent over barbell row? How much cheating are you doing? Like, because it bent over, it's hard to say because I don't know how much you're cheating or not. Right? I think 225 or 5 is pretty good strip. Cheating, not cheating. Yeah, 225 or 5 is good strip. I think that's really good. Cheat rows, I've done rep work with 315 with straps. But I can do really strict, like a bent over row, like you're describing, not a barbell row. Barbell row is off the floor. I can do about 8 to 10 with 225, and look at the size of my back. So there's your context. So for comparative purposes. I can't stay on tennis forever, though. Well, Mustafa, it sounds like you're not serious about being a true fitness influencer. That's why I've told you it's more difficult than you think it is. I mean, just saying. But here's the thing: it's not like your body fat's not low enough to be successful. You have a full six pack pretty much year round, dude. So, I've started doing the barbell row straight too. I love the carryover goes to the deadlifts. Yeah. Barbell row off the floor has phenomenal deadlift carryover. Right? That's great. That's great carryover. Good over pressure 160. I think that's really good. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's respectable. Good morning, Coach. How do you drink your coffee? Black. Coach likes his coffee like he likes his women, black and bitter. I'm just kidding. Oh my God. Oh man, here it comes. Oh man. I just created so many problems. There's going to be 17 videos made with that in there. Here it comes, guys. Here it comes. Wait for it. Canceled. A bunch of people dropped out of the views. There was like 20 something down to 9. They all just left. They just left. They're like, we're not putting up with this. Is flat barbell bench the best chest exercise? I think so. Hail to the yes, man. Here comes the mob, man. I'm telling you, dude. They're going to get me. Everything I've seen. Those guys are crazy to stay that lean to do. They have to dedicate their life to it. To staying under 10% year round, the dudes who do it really have to put a massive amount of effort into that. Up to and including very specific dietary protocols, drugs to suppress appetite is really normal. Stuff like, well, when I get hungry and it's between meals and I need a snack, I just drink a protein shake. Right? I have 2 meals a day, and if I get hungry in between them, I have a protein shake, and it's the only thing I consume. It's like they be like that. All right. All right, guys, the viewership has died down a bit. I think we're going about to wind this down. All right, so shut down the Facebook. Wind down the tubes. Love you guys, and I'm out. I'll catch you guys in another live later. We're going to run here this morning at some point coming up.